No more jobs for these losers.
Anxiety of being replaced by AI. Many workers worry AI is coming for their jobs. Can we get past the fear and find a silver lining? Claire has worked as a PR at a major consulting firm in London for 6 years. She enjoys her job and earns a comfortable salary, but lately, she's felt uneasy about her career's future. The quality of my work isn't matched by a machine yet, Claire says, but ChatGPT's sophistication is growing quickly. In a few years, a bot might do my job just as well.
No more jobs for these losers. So the AI revolution is here. And within 3 years, many of these jobs will likely be gone. Watch the end of the video to fully understand why so many people are now set to lose their jobs, specifically women, especially women, just in a very few short years. And today's video comes from USA News. Their channel will be linked in the description. Now let's just go ahead and jump right back into the video.
Scared for my employability. As generative AI tools become more accessible, some workers are anxious about their futures and whether their skills will stay relevant in the labor market. I think a lot of creatives are concerned, says Alice Marshall, a 29-year-old copywriter. We hope clients will value our authenticity over the price and convenience of AI tools. Career coaches and HR experts suggest that while some anxiety is justified, employees should focus on what they can control and learn to work alongside technology. Experts advise treating technology as a resource rather than a threat. This can make employees more valuable to employers and reduce their anxiety. Carolyn Montrose, a career coach, acknowledges the fear surrounding AI due to its rapid evolution and unknown applications. But Montrose also believes workers can choose to feel empowered by learning about AI instead of feeling anxious. Scott Likens from PUC agrees. He says technological advancements can streamline work, but also offer progress for those with the right skills. Employees should embrace AI and educate themselves about it to feel less anxious. This can help them develop new skills and understand AI's potential benefits. Likens reminds us that industry disruptions aren't new. From automation to e-commerce, society has always adapted to technological change.
Yeah, guys, this time it's going to really hurt. So, if we check out this article from Entrepreneur, and I find it to be quite interesting and telling, human-capable AI agents will change the workforce within 3 years. And I've been talking about this. According to a CEO currently creating the perfect AI employee. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, we'll see that AI agents could pose fresh challenges and new competition for human employees as business leaders race to implement the tech. Alex Zekov, CEO and co-founder of Thoughtful AI, a startup that focuses on creating AI agents for healthcare, told Entrepreneur that AI agents unlock a new era of technology. What is an AI agent? The difference between an AI chatbot like ChatGPT and an AI agent is that the latter can independently make decisions to meet a human set goal, just like an employee. For example, AI agents in a call center could choose which questions to ask and the right information and next steps on a customer-by-customer basis. Human-capable AI agents are creating a future where workplaces are enhanced, Zekov said, specifying that the technology could help with anticipating staffing needs and managing tasks. A testimonial on Thoughtful's AI website from Kara Percy, Vice President of Revenue Cycle at Signature Dental Partners, said that an AI agent was like training a perfect employee that works 24 hours a day exactly how you trained it. So, guys, this is Gen Zers. A lot of these Gen Zers and younger millennials have zero hope. And then to make even things more interesting, a lot of people, especially women who are working in these administrative jobs or doing repetitive tasks, those jobs are going to be gone. A lot of those insurance agents, administrators, managers, all of those people, they're going to be gone, y'all. Even some computer programmers, software engineers, they're going to be gone. A lot of these jobs are going to be wiped out. For men, what men are just going to do is upskilling. But for women, it's going to be much, much more difficult. And for Gen Z in particular, they really have very little future because these people are not even able to adapt well to the current to the current employment market. So they're not going to be able to do well going forward. And in terms of can AI take your job? Yeah, a lot of these people are going to lose jobs in the next 3 years. The World Economic Forum estimated in 2020 that AI would displace 85 million jobs by next year, while creating 97 million new ones. Yeah, that's not happening. Though, in terms of creating 97 new ones, though the estimates were made before ChatGPT was released in November 2022, ChatGPT surpassed the 180 million monthly user mark this year. 180 million, all. A February 2024 survey from Washington State University showed that nearly half of U.S. workers are worried about being left behind by advances in AI. Meanwhile, businesses simultaneously appear eager to adopt ChatGPT. According to a recent Capgemini survey, over 4 in 5 business leaders plan on using AI agents to automate tasks like data analysis, code creation, and email writing over the next 1 to 3 years. So they're already implementing this technology. It's not like, oh, it's going to 3 years are here and now suddenly they're beginning to implement it. No, they're doing it now. So they're planning to get this stuff going in there as quickly as possible. Over the next year, a lot of jobs are going to be lost to AI. Within 3 years, many of the jobs that exist now will no longer be here. Those jobs will be completely replaced by AI agents. So when you call in and to customer service, you're going to be speaking to an automated agent. So for example, you'll be speaking to it like you're speaking to a person. It may not be perfect, but that's just what it's going to be. I'll ask you various questions, and trust me, they'll make it so hard to actually speak to a real person that you'll just either give up or just deal with it. And it's going to make for a lot of people, it's going to make life harder. There's going to be some benefits where some things will be faster, but for a lot of things, it's not going to have that flexibility. And these companies, they don't give a damn. I'm just being honest with you. They don't care about you as a customer. They hate you as a customer. They just want your money. That's it. They absolutely hate the people that they serve. They like your money. They don't like you. So a lot of these jobs are just going to go the way of the dinosaur. And a lot of these people who work, for example, especially in fast food, many of those jobs are going to disappear in the coming years. Okay? Many of those fast food jobs are going to completely disappear. These people are not going to have jobs. A lot of people are going to be hungry and homeless. They're going to be trying to get food stamps. It's going to be hard to get those food stamps. They're going to be applying for SSI. It's going to be hard to get that SSI because everyone's trying to get that SSI. So for those of you that don't know what SSI, it's basically a form of Social Security. So basically, it's a supplemental insurance. So if you don't qualify for Social Security or Social Security disability, you can apply for SSI, and it's for basically poor people or broke people, and it can take a very long time to get. Like you can apply for SSI you can apply for it this year, and you still don't have a decision like a year from now. It's like that's how long it'll take. It can take literally a year or more, even almost 2 years, just to get SSI, just to get a check for $800 a month. I kind of find it so stupid because there's a lot of people who basically sit around and do nothing for 2 years waiting to get a check for $800 a month. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my entire life. A lot of people in this world are useless. Like they don't want to work, they don't want to try, they don't want to grind. They just want to sit down, get drunk, get fat, and live these lives. And the world is a horrible place. The world is not a kind place. The world is dreadful. And it's like these people, like a lot of them, they won't even have the physical capabilities to go out and tear down society because they're going to be too fat and strung out. Like you look at Gen Z, and a lot of Gen Zers, like they're angry and they're furious and they're going to create problems in society. Like but a lot of them, they won't even be able to get out of bed. Their health, because many of them, their health is going to be very, very poor. Like the baby boomers, those that are still around in 10 years. You have to understand your metabolism starts to undergo a shift. In your 20s and even your 30s. By the 77% of Gen Zers back in 2020 were found unfit to serve in the military because of high obesity rates, drug use, mental incompetence, or mental illness. And that was from studies conducted that started back in 2017. You fast forward 7 years later, and you have to realize that they're even way worse than they were back then. 77% of them could not even be in the military legally unless they received a waiver in many cases. And you think that these people in 2024, the way that they are going to be any better? No, they're much, much worse. So when you consider that about Gen Z, a lot of them, they're not even going to be able to go out there and do a lot, like create havoc. They're creating havoc in society, but a lot of them don't won't even be able to physically do that because they're gonna, just like the boomers, they're gonna be strung out. All right, in 10 years, 5 to 10 years, you're gonna see it. A lot of they're gonna be in their hip full blown hippie era, and a lot of them are gonna be suffering from serious health conditions because of, I mean, they're aging like milk right now. Someone said they're aging in dog years, so they're not going to be with us very long. They were never really meant to be here that long, and it's like they're not going to be able to do a lot. A lot of them are going to be extremely overweight. They're going to be, their health. There's going to be extraordinary amounts of health decline. For example, one of the serious things is like when you get older and you need to take medication. You maybe you have high blood pressure, maybe you have diabetes, you have or different things. A lot of these Gen Z idiots, they're not going to take their medication. They're not going to keep up with hypertension medication. They're not going to keep up with even diabetes medication because they have the let live attitude, so they don't give a fuck. All right, they're really just gonna be sitting around, and as a result of that, many of them are gonna drop like flies as well. There's this notion like, oh, Gen Z is they're not the future. Like you're gonna have to plan to work. All of us will have to plan to work in old age, even if we don't have to. We're going to have to. Maybe you're like, oh, well, I don't have to do shit other than die. You don't really get it. There will be no society, and if anything that AI cannot do, you will have to do. All right, you will have to plan ahead. Okay, so that you can take care of yourself, because no one's going to take care of you. All right, we're going to have, guys, if you haven't woken up and realized it yet, we're going to have to take care of Gen Z. These are the people that are going to begin falling into like those that remain. Like, okay, 20 years from now, while all of us are hustling and grinding, you know Gen Z will be in there. These people are going to be in like these, those are the people that are going to be in the right retirement communities. Like you don't seem to get it. Like the ones that are still around, they're the ones that are going to need like long-term care and all of this other shit. Like you really need to wake up. There's going to be significant. There's also going to be a significant rise, I suspect, in rates of dementia and things like Parkinson's among Gen Z. A lot of that has to do with the lifestyle they're living, their health, and then also with dementia. They're going to begin developing dementia earlier, much faster than previous generations, I think. And so you can kind of chart some of this, because if you sit around and you do absolutely nothing and you don't stimulate your brain, and then there are other health implications in there, it's very possible, very likely that Gen Z will be much more susceptible to dementia, Alzheimer's and these conditions. So guys, they're going to be geriatrics. Many Gen Zers will be geriatrics by 40 years old, and you need those of them that are still around. All right, and I'm not playing games with you. I'm not exaggerating. You're going to be in their 30s. There will be many geriatric Gen Zers in their 30s, and they're going to be, it's going to be advanced age in their 40s. You think I'm playing, and then don't come back to me and say, Angry, you're a prophet. Fuck you. All right, it doesn't take a prophet. It takes common fucking sense, which a lot of people just don't have today. All right. Anyone can see where these kids are headed. They're headed to hell in a handbasket. It's from hell that they came, and it's to hell that they shall return. But they want to burn everything down before they go, like the boomers, you know. And it's gonna be a nightmare. If you look at Gen Z, they're already screaming and hollering over Social Security, something they never even worked for. Like they don't even understand how Social Security works. That you have to actually pay a certain amount of money into Social Security. They don't want to work for Social Security. They're crying about Social Security not even being around for them when they get old. Bro, you actually have to pay into it. Like the boomers are scumbags. They borrowed from Social Security, but they actually did pay into Social Security. Gen Z hasn't paid into shit. They feel like, well, there's money there and that's supposed to be our retirement. Bro, you're supposed to pay into it. You have to pay into it and have a certain number of working hours to collect it. Not every baby boomer is going to collect Social Security, you little idiots. They actually had to work and pay into it for a number of years, for sometimes decades. You jokers can't even hold a job sometimes for 1 year. You don't have enough working hours. Like these ibits are a joke. I don't know what's wrong with these people. These people are so out of their fucking minds. It blows my mind. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I told you, my parents, they purchased the house for like 140K in New York, back New York City, back in the 90s, in the mid to late 90s. That house is now worth about $1 million. So we're all fucked. The idea of home ownership is absolute nonsense. My father was making $62,000 back in 1992 with no college degree. Okay, and it wasn't like anything special that he was doing. He was working in armed security and making 60 plus. Okay, that's how much money these people made back then. And if you take that into consider, if you take that into consideration, what life is like for us now. He was, realistically, my father could have was able to purchase a house, you know, a house. I mean, like the house that he purchased was really nice. Like they purchased a really nice house in a really nice neighborhood. If they had purchased a house like in a shit place, it would have been less than that. It would have been like 100K. So the truth is that my father, with no college degree, no real education, was able to live this lifestyle and purchase a home with roughly two or 2.5 years worth of salary, which is what it was previously. That's how much it used to cost. People used to pay for a house. You would purchase your first home would typically cost about 1 year's salary, 1 to 2 years salary. That's how much a home would typically cost, your first home. And now we're being told to take 30-year mortgages to go and pay for this crap. What the boomers did was they took 30-year mortgages, and then over the next 30 years, they began sucking the equity out of these properties. So they basically paid very little in mortgage rates for this. They paid very little for the mortgages, and then they kept on refinancing the properties for the coming decades and sucking out any equity that would exist in the property. So they made and then just passing that on to us. These people were These are psychopaths. They had no intention of leaving a better world for us. They wanted to take whatever they could take along the way. They sold us out while we were in diapers. They stole our futures while we were in diapers. All right. And the notion that we're going to steal it back while they're in diapers is concerning, because as I sit here and I realize it, there's really nothing, guys. This notion of the great wealth transfer, for example, the great wealth transfer that everyone talks about, it's not a great wealth transfer. The reality is that when the boomers pass on, as the boomers are passing on, we are not going to inherit wealth. We're going to inherit debt, and obligations. Okay, that's what we're actually going to get from the boomers, because all they do are go on these carnival cruise vacations, and basically spend all of that money. Keep on refinancing on their properties, and they go on these carnival cruise vacations, and they're just having one big party. Life has been one big party for them. If you look at the poll that I made, and I said the great wealth transfer from boomers to millennials / Gen X will be a transfer of debts and obligations, not wealth. And 79% agreed, only 9% disagreed, 7% said they don't know, 5% said they don't care. So most people are well aware of this, and this was 3.1 thousand votes. 3.1 thousand votes. Only idiots are sitting around right now thinking that they're going to collect something from their parents. Their parents aren't leaving them with shit. Like, bro, really wake the hell up. There's a comment from JSO, and he says, as parents expire, the corporations are gonna absolutely lose their lunch over nobody wanting to settle a corpse's debt. Guys, these people, they owe so much money. They owe so much money to these banks, and all that's gonna happen is, for example, these properties. My father's house that he bought it for 100K. Now it's worth $1 million. No one, who in the right mind is going to buy that shit? I saw an article earlier today saying that a guy was paying $2,100 a month to live with 23 roommates in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, New York. Guys, I grew up in New York City, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Brooklyn wasn't the best of places back in my day. All right, Brooklyn is a place where the blacks live, the Italians, and some of the Jews. All right, and the Jews, they had their own area, and you didn't really go there. I'm just basically being honest with you. All right, no one came to Brooklyn. You stayed the fuck out of Brooklyn. There's my New York accent for you, and it's just kind of strange how New York has changed so much. It's just kind of strange how New York has changed so much, where you have all of these white people living in neighborhoods that were once considered like just chaotic. Like gentrification did happen, but like the places that people are living, like there are places like Bed-Stuy and Bedford Stuyvesant, and no, don't tell me it was a nice place. Or Bensonhurst. Well, Bensonhurst was actually pretty decent. I should say Bensonhurst, but there's some really bad places. Flatbush, Jamaica, Queens. Jamaica, Queens is where 50 Cent came from. The real estate prices are psychotic in Jamaica, Queens right now. Y'all, that was the hood. That was the hood. And Bronx was a cesspit. No one wanted to live in Bronx. It was like, who the hell grew up in the Bronx? The Bronx were a freaking joke. Everyone wanted to live in Manhattan. And even then, Manhattan was a piece of shit place. And Harlem, forget about going to Harlem. Harlem was a frightening fucking place. Oh, it's so much culture. No, it's not. It really isn't. Okay? And now you have all of this junk of the boomers being, just the price and the cost of it is insane. It's absolutely insane to go pay tons of money for their fucking junk. Like, who the hell is going to spend that kind of money? So, you have people $2,100 a month to live in an old black neighbor. I'm just being not being disrespectful, but to live in an old black neighborhood that used to be run down. It was the hood. No one wanted to live there, and now it's been gentrified. It doesn't mean that it looks a lot better. It just means that all the white people are so broke that they have to live in these places now in holes in the wall while spending crazy amounts of money to live in a really shitty and run down neighborhood. I'm just being honest with you. Like, you have a lot of people in New York City right now and in places like LA and even San Diego where they're living in these shitty ass places. Like San Diego, there's a place called National City. It used to be one of the worst places in the entire in the United States. And now they're charging crazy amounts of money to live in National City. Are you out of your fucking minds? Like, no one wanted to live there. These are some dangerous fucking places. And they're charging this kind of rent, $5,000 a month for one person, and you're lucky if you can get that? Get the hell out of here. Get the living hell out of here. Guys, I'm telling you, you have this. It's not going to work out. None of this shit's going to work out. And it's going to result in more and more women being in poverty, destitution, because a lot of these jobs that are being replaced by automation, they're being replaced. A lot of these jobs that are being replaced by automation, they're jobs that women are going to be doing. They're jobs that women are doing. And they're going to find a lot of women are going to be in poverty. They're going to find themselves in poverty, destitution, homeless, living in shelters, living in their cars, living on the streets. A lot of these so-called baddies are just barely holding on. Like, you have these girls popping up on these shows on YouTube, like, oh my gosh, I don't want this man popping balloons, like, oh, this guy is not good enough for me. A lot of these dudes are 6 feet tall. Like, these dudes have so much bread. Like, these guys, oh, like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I run my own company where I do, I rent out porta potties. Oh, you work with shit water. Yeah, I'm not going to date you, bro. This dude pulls in $500,000 a year. These girls like, I don't give a fuck. All right, I don't want that kind of man in my life coming home smelling like shit. And it's like, what? Are you serious, dude? And then the same girls that are saying these things, the same women that are saying these things, are women who have multiple kids, and then they end up homeless on the streets, they end up homeless on the streets, losing their kids, and are homeless with some of their kids, and they lost the other ones. And these are the same women that were on their front, acting like they're big and bad and tough, and they're on top of the world. This is a true story. I did a video about this. I've done a video about this. So many of these women are like this right now, and the mental state of a lot of men is messed up. Because if you look at the kinds of women today, especially in a lot of these communities, they don't look what women used to look like 50 years ago. So the standards of men have fallen so low, it's ridiculous. This is why the passport geeks are being attacked, because these men are just doing better for themselves. They're leaving this toxic society behind, and they're going where they're appreciated, where they're celebrated, and women still have cultural values, morals, and standards. Oh, you want to it's not about saying that you want a woman to wear a burqa, if that's her choice. And I respect the fact that I respect a woman's right to wear that if she chooses to wear that. Notice I said choice. No man should ever tell a woman that she has to wear a burqa or any of that stuff. It's up to the individual woman to make that decision for herself. However, if you when we're in Western society and you have women walking around who are covered up in tats, or people like Amber Rose who have an entire tattoo on their forehead, and they're walking around in clothing that wouldn't be appropriate at home. I'm like, what? You're like appropriate at home? Like you're in a relationship with a woman and she is walking around in some like just really gross stuff. Like, bro, you like it. She looks, the outfits that some women are wearing today, they would look less. It would look, if they look worse wearing these outfits than if they were wearing nothing at all. I'm so serious, because these outfits are designed to draw attention to specific things that sometimes they don't even have. All right, make them look certain ways. It's like, bro, no one wants to see this. Like, this is gross. You look worse wearing this than wearing nothing at all. And I'm just so, honestly, it's just so true. And it's like they just won't stop. Like, this stuff is not even lingerie. It's gross. Like, you compare some Victoria's Secrets dresses, like 90s, and these things look like evening gowns compared to what women are wearing out there. And in the moment a man says that, yeah, listen, I'm not into this, I want someone who has more standards, who dresses more feminine. It's not about covering yourself up from head to toe, but this stuff is just absolutely gross. Like, who is this for? This is for rappers? This is for thugs? Like, who are you dressed like this for? Because this is not appropriate anywhere. This is not even attractive. Like, you're looking for a certain kind of man. You're looking for thugs. You're looking for chads, maybe, but you're not looking for husbands. That's the reality, guys. By the way, if you're enjoying the content, guys, do not forget to subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my new guide, The Digital Nomad Blueprint. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. And also, guys, subscribe to the Angry Guy Clips channel where we post shorter videos and video responses, and also the Angry Guy Live channel where we live stream. Both channels are linked in the description. What do you guys think regarding this? No more jobs for these losers. These jobs are going to be wiped out by AI and automation. A lot of these restaurant jobs, they're going to be a thing of the past as well. McDonald's is going to start automating out, and as soon as they do it, other companies will too. It's going to change it. This notion that all of these idiots working in fast food are going to be making 20 and 30 and 40 and $50 an hour is absolute bullshit. All right. If these companies are automating out our jobs, people who have college degrees in STEM fields, or admit our business, our business administration, or things like this, or accounting, people who work at McDonald's think that they're going to hold on to their jobs, or people who do DoorDash think that they're going to keep on door dashing for a living, and if they don't get what they want, they'll just go out there and create havoc in society. It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Using reason and logic, they're going to go out there and they're going to start protesting and trying to rob stores and stuff like this, and having and creating burdens on society. And the enforcers, men covered in like wearing riot gear and all of that stuff, these very violent guys, they're going to step in, they're going to send them out there, and that's they're going to put them in prison. I've already said that Gen Alpha is going to be a large prison population. These young people can't read, they can't write, and they have high, they're coming predominantly from fatherless homes. Those, that right there and then, you can see that, like, that's like 100% like prison right there. Predictions of prison, like 80% of the men in prison come from fatherless homes. When you factor in illiteracy in there, that just boosted up like another massive amount. So a lot of these young people, they have no future. They're going to be a large prison population. A lot of Gen Zers are going to be in there with them. Those are that are still around, because Gen Z is aging like MILF. They look absolutely terrible. They look terrible, man. Really, really bad. And no one's crying for them. No one really feels for them, because the way that these kids operated is they were so nasty and so disrespectful, so lazy and so shifty and untrustworthy that no one actually feels anything for them. People are like, oh, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. That's how you act? All right, cool. And there's some people who are like, oh, they're just rebelling against the man, rebelling against corporations who are taking advantage of their employees. No, you're hurting the people around you. It's one thing if you don't like your job, then quit. It's another thing to take the job and then just not do the job, so everyone else around you has to do your job for you. So you basically get the job, and then you leave halfway through the day, or you just don't show up, and you pop up here and there. So it makes it much more difficult for them to fire you, because it's going to take a while to get rid of you and then replace you. So the existing employees who are already overworked are always picking up your shit while you're getting paid to do nothing. All right, and you'll just pop up when you feel like it, so you can get some beer money. Like, these people are terrible human beings, and their actions, they have consequences, and those consequences is going to be poverty and destitution for a lot of them. Nothing is going to last forever. All right, they think they're going to ride this thing like the boomers did, but the boomers are heading for extreme rates of poverty. The boomers are the fastest growing homeless population in the United States. Half of all baby boomers have no retirement savings. I mean, when I say no retirement savings, they can't find $500 to save their lives most of the time. And then from those boomers that do have retirement savings, they have less than $100,000 in retirement savings, and the average boomer needs to spend around $53,000 a year just to survive, between rent, medication, all the cost of living. 53,000. So those that even do have 100K, that won't last them more than 2 years. All right, not even like 3 years. That won't last them more than 2 years. And then with rising inflation, that might be even like really pushing it. Like, they'd have to like really like cut back on food and a variety of different things, and maybe even miss out on some medication. Like, that's really where the boomers are going. And then I've talked about this thing. I think it's like Philal laws. I talked about it in another video where they can try to compel their kids to provide for them. In some states, they have these laws. Like 30 states have laws where the boomers basically can invoke these laws to demand that their kids provide food and shelter for them. But a lot of their millennial and Gen Xers kids can't provide for them, or just won't do it. So it's gonna be a nightmare with that. You have to understand that the boomers are bad apples, just like Gen Zers are bad muffins, bad little muffins. The boomers are bad apples, rotten apples. They were bad from day one. They didn't become this over. It's not a matter of the old people are corrupt. They've always been corrupt. All right. Back when they were in their 20s and 30s, George Carlin was telling us about these people. They are corrupt. Do not trust them. All right. They are trying to make life miserable for everyone younger than them. Who's that? Gen X and the millennials. Like, they basically were out for their kids from the very get-go. These are some bad people, man. My parents are both boomers, all right, and they are not good. They are messed up people. The way that they think is absolutely messed up. You can't have a conversation with these people. You cannot sit down and say, "Listen, when you bought your house 24 years ago," no, actually it was over 24. My parents bought their house back in the 90s, and we're in 2024, so it's a while ago. It's a while ago. When you bought your house, almost 30 years ago, your house was only like $140,000, all right, and you were making more money than I'm making now. And I'm just giving you an example. I make six figures, but I'm just giving you an example. The average person does not make six figures. The average person does not make six figures. So you're like, well, listen, the average person is only making like not even $50,000 right now. You're able to purchase that with roughly 2 years worth of salary, 2.5 years worth of salary. And now you want us in this hyperinflation to go out there and buy these properties from you bums for $1 million or $1.4 million, which is 10 times what you paid for it. And they'll just look at you like they don't understand what you're talking about, and tell you that you're being lazy, or they don't want to come. They don't. This is guys. These are wicked and evil people. They are such nasty, evil. They talk about love and kindness, but they only do that to get money out of you and exploit you. Like I said, they are so nasty. They're such viciously cruel, narcissistic people. They've guys, they sold us out while we were in diapers. They stole our futures from us while we were in diapers, and the notion of stealing it back is a joke, because the only things that they have is our debts and obligations. Many of them have very little of worth, nothing of actual worth. The ones that do have that have properties right now and are in a better place, guys, they're going to be financing and refinancing those properties until they die. That's their retirement. All right, sucking out the equity out of those properties and continually causing the value of the properties to increase because because uh because they're so greedy. They're basically artificially inflating the markets. And who, guys, no one right now listening to my videos, no one in their right minds right now should be spending more than 3 times, 2 to 3 times what they make in a year on a property. And there's some of you who are like, well, I make $200,000 a year. Yeah, you should be going above the national average. So, for example, if people at most are making $50,000 a year, you really shouldn't be spending more than 150 to $200,000 on a home. Like that's the absolute maximum. All right, and you should also be looking at it by state. So if you live in a state where the average income is only $30,000 a year, you should not be spending more than 90, maximum $100,000 for a house. Okay, stop listening to these good for nothing people. Stop listening to the boomers who are trying to take advantage of you, and they've already stolen so much of your lives. For example, guys, I was in school for like almost 10 years. I have an undergraduate degree. I have 2 postgraduate degrees, 2 masters. I dropped out of 2 PhD programs. Part of it was because of health reasons, 1 doctor, 1 PhD. And I'm highly educated, but I traded so many years of my life for an education that ultimately I don't even work in my fields, but I'm able to take the skills that I gained, and I use them as best as I can and apply them as a part of my my not my body of knowledge. But that's not, life has never been fair, but it's just kind of ridiculous. And not everyone is going to be able to go out and do that. It takes a lot of hard work, and the boomers don't care. You understand? Just like Gen Z, just like Gen X doesn't care about your feelings, the boomers have never cared about your futures. They've never cared about your futures. They've never cared about you whatsoever. It's always been one big party. All right? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's no one that, guys, in their advanced ages, they're still out here doing this shit. All right? They're still out here living these lives, and they don't care, guys. Their view is like they want to take everything down. Like they don't want anything to be left when they pass away. They want us to we should be going. We should basically be going with them, or if we're not, better figure it out for yourselves. They have left us with truly some horrific in a horrific situation. These are some truly god awful people, god awful, evil, narcissistic, cruel, wicked, deceitful, spiteful people, guys. What do you think regarding this, guys? No more jobs for these losers. AI is going to wipe out a lot of these jobs, and the boomers are planning to drag us to hell with them. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.